Good morning and welcome to my channel. This is a revolutionary day because I've learned how to put my phone sideways on a line bike so that I can record while I'm cycling to work. So as you'll see from my last video, I've been very busy with the Chelsea Flower Show, working 12-hour shifts back to back in the restaurant. And today I am kind of working, but I'm going to training in Soho to one of the Chelsea branches, and I'm a little bit nervous because if you've been following me, you know that I am in an eating disorder recovery, Food Addicts Anonymous, and I'm in AA, so I don't drink alcohol, and I'm a bit terrified that the training will involve trying food and alcohol, which I'm not allowed to do. So I'm thinking of what excuses to say. Do I tell them the truth? Do I tell them that I'm a raging addict? Do I tell them that I've got autoimmune and I need to be careful? Do I tell them, or do I just simply say, no thank you? I think I should do the latter. Well, I don't have to explain myself to anyone. Anyway, yesterday I saw my ex-boyfriend. He came into the restaurant with a really hot girl. I mean, she was like almost 6 foot, looked like a model, stunning. He was balding. I only really saw the back of his head and he's going like so bald. But despite that, I still kind of have feelings for him, and I think I always will, because he's like my most transformative partner I've had, I think. So a little bit of story time. I met him my first year living in London. I was working in a nightclub in Chelsea, and that was my first time I'd kind of seen like super rich people on a day-to-day basis and worked with them, and I started to manifest a rich boyfriend. And I was doing this through, honestly, this is quite embarrassing, but I was doing like magic spells, manifestation boards, visionaries, subliminals, all these things. And then when I was working in the nightclub, I decided I didn't want to work late shifts anymore. So I started to look for a daytime hospitality job. So I found this restaurant / cafe thing in Mayfair. And obviously I only knew Mayfair from the Monopoly board, which was the most expensive place. Because I'm from the countryside. And I thought, I want to work in Mayfair, why not? So I got this job, and the day I went for the interview, as I was walking up the stairs to this beautiful garden, I caught eyes on this guy, like the back of him, and he wasn't my usual type. He was wearing like baggy jeans, he was slightly overweight, he was wearing like this old blue t-shirt. He's Kashmirian, so I've only dated English guys before, so definitely wasn't my usual type. However, I did think something of it because I felt this strong attachment to him just from seeing the back of him, and this has happened before in my life as well with another guy who ended up being a part of my life for years in a really toxic way. So I felt this, whether it's a soul connection or just like a toxic, I don't know, energetically there was this really strong pull to this guy that I didn't even know he had anything to do with the restaurant. Anyway, I go in and have the interview with a guy who is half Asian. I think he's half Thai. He's half Thai, and he interviewed me, and he used to own a club next to the one that I was previously working in. So I think on that basis he thought I was quite cool, and we had stuff in common. And he hired me. And he told me that he was the owner of the restaurant, but it turns out that my soon-to-be boyfriend, who I saw on the stairs, was actually the owner and had asked his best friend to interview me. I don't know why. Maybe he's shy. So anyway, I start working at this restaurant, and then me and the owner start going for drinks after work. Drinks led into more, and we were sleeping together and seeing each other secretly, and then I became the manager of the restaurant. I started like, I loved that restaurant as well, and I loved working in hospitality and managing restaurants, so I was in my element because he kind of trusted me to do kind of what I wanted with the restaurant. And he also had an events business, and he had some girls working for him for his events business, and I wanted to get involved in that as well. Anyway, the lease on the restaurant only lasted a year, so when the lease was up, we were seeing each other, and I was upset because I thought, oh, I'm not going to see him every day now, and I'm already like in love with this guy, so in love with this guy, like more than I've ever been in love with anyone, besotted by him. And he said, oh, why don't you just move in with me? Now this guy lives in Mayfair on Berkeley Square. I mean, obviously I'm not going to say no. Also, I'm in love with the guy. Like, I wanted to marry this guy. I want to have kids with this guy. I'm over the moon that he wants me to move in with him. So, straight away, yes, I moved all my stuff in with him. I feel like it's a dream come true. And, yeah, I'm just over the moon thinking that we're going to, like, be together forever and all that stuff. Anyway, it gets a bit toxic. The drinking becomes more and more. I realise that I didn't realise at the time he had a drinking problem, because in my eyes he was perfect. But I ended up having a drinking problem too. We were drinking every day when we went out for drinks in the evenings, and he had so much money as well, so I could literally drink whatever I wanted, when I wanted, wherever I wanted. Champagne at Annabelle's, Tramp Club, Groucho Club. Always ordered triples, so we'd order a double and then a shot of vodka on the side. They'd drink vodka and sodas. I've always been crazy. I've always had a drink problem. You know, I just drink to get blackout, but on vodka, wow, it sends me crazy. And his favourite drink was vodka, so me and him were always drinking vodka, and then we'd go home and we'd drink like even more vodka. But before that I was more of a red wine, whiskey girly. I guess I still was with him, but yeah, I was an alcoholic. We were both alcoholics. Also foodies, like he was overweight. I wasn't overweight at that time because I was more addicted to alcohol and Xanax. And I wanted to stay slim to keep him as well. So yeah, I mean, I was still in food addiction and restriction and whatever else, like eating disorder, but I wasn't overweight. He was, and then we started the keto diet together, and that's when I first gave up sugar, and I absolutely loved that. We both dropped so much weight straight away, and we were just eating steak and meat all the time, and still drinking a lot of vodka all the time, but we were getting slim, and it felt good to be doing something together. And I was trying to get pregnant with him, even though we weren't married, just because I was so in love with him. And I was like buying all the vitamins that I could to try and get pregnant, and eating like a diet that would promote fertility. And I was really beating myself up that I couldn't get pregnant, and thinking there was something wrong with me. And was it because I've sinned? Is it because of my past? Is it like I had an STI when I was a teenager, and I wondered, oh, did that ruin my chances of having children? And just really spiraled into this like, oh, I'm not enough for him, because he was like in his 40s. I forgot to mention he's 20 years older than me. He was in his 40s, and he really wanted children, and I really wanted children as well. I always have, but I really wanted them for him as well, for him to be happy. And I felt like a failure. I felt inadequate, and then I started to feel like he's going to cheat on me and he's going to leave me because all he wants is a baby. Yet my self-worth was so low, I would have done anything to keep this guy, to be honest. I was so in love with him. And because he had money, I think people didn't believe me or thought that I was with him for his money, and it's really not true. Like, this guy had a lot of money. I mean, we had a driver from Berkeley Square, went to all the private members club, Then lockdown happened. I was living with him for 2 years, and then lockdown happened, and I just thought, I can't live with this guy. He also was like constantly texting prostitutes and other women while we were together, and I like deep down knew that he was cheating on me, but again, as I said, I was so in love with him, like I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to believe it. I knew it, and I spoke to him about it, but you know, eventually he was like really flirting with my friends one night and making them feel uncomfortable in the house, and that was kind of the last straw. Because I thought, I'm not going to be able to have friends with this dude because he's literally flirting with it. He even flirted with my mom, like that's just any woman he would flirt with and be sexual with. So anyway, I ended up breaking up with him when lockdown happened because I thought I couldn't be stuck in a room with this guy. I would go insane. Moved in with my friends. Then he was calling my family and friends, making threats like, if you don't get her to call me, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. He asked me to give him back everything he'd ever bought me, even like perfume, bags, phone. He took my iPhone off me. Yeah. So yeah, I cut him off, blocked him, didn't speak to him for years. Then last Christmas, he reached out to me on Instagram. I don't know how, because I'm sure I blocked him. I must have unblocked him. I don't know. He sent me a picture of his yacht in Miami and said, "How are you? At my yacht?" And it was nice to hear from him. He asked to meet for a coffee as friends, and I thought that'd be really nice, you know, only if he was actually interested in me, if he actually cared what I'd been up to or how I was. But he really didn't. I think it's all ego for him. He just wanted to feel like he'd won, or I don't know what he wanted from me, but I didn't feel genuine. And I thought about it for a few weeks, and I was in America actually on a holiday, and I said I'll let you know when I get back, and I was thinking about it the whole time. And then he sent me some more messages like, "Hey Nash," he used to call me Nash. And it was Christmas, so we had 2 really, really nice Christmases together as well, so I guess I was feeling a bit in my feels about that at the time that he messaged me. Maybe he did it on purpose, maybe he was just thinking about me because he enjoyed the Christmases together. I don't know, but what I do know is the text messages he sent me had like gaps and full stops in them. I could tell that he was drunk, and because I'm now in AA and I'm sober, that would just be so detrimental for me. If I fall for him again and get entrapped with him again, and he's still once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. So if I get trapped with an alcoholic again, it could be game over for me, and I might not survive it this time. So like it really breaks my heart because I do still love him, and what I'm getting to is I saw him yesterday in the restaurant. He walked into the restaurant, and I haven't seen him in like 4 years, longer, 4 or 5 years. And my natural instinct was he walked past me, and I just touched his arm and said hello. And like, I'm sure he's still wearing a blazer that he wore when we were together, because just everything about him I love. Like the smell of him, the things he wears, his facial expressions, the tone of his voice, the way he speaks, his eyes, like everything. I adore him, but I cannot be with him because it's so bad for me. Anyway, he looks so in shock, and then where I'm working there's a huge garden, and to be fair, what's going on here? A bit of chaos. So yeah, to be fair, his brother has 2 or 3 houses on that road where the restaurant is, so I'm not, maybe God has put him in my path for a reason, but I'm also not thinking too much about it because it's logical that he would Yeah, I managed to avoid him. I almost got sent outside by my manager to serve his table, and I was like, I absolutely can't. Like, I need to go home right now. If you can't send me home, I might be hiding behind a plant pot because my ex is in here, and I just cannot. Anyway, he didn't stay for too long. He went to the toilet, and I was on the till, and I was speaking, like my colleague was speaking about him, and I think he might have overheard and knew that I was speaking. I don't know. And then when he left, I saw him coming from a distance, so I just like started to clean tables and turn my back towards him, so I didn't have to see him with the girl. But I saw them leaving, and I saw him go like